Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. I'm Elizabeth Chappell, the host of the show, and this is episode 132. I got a private DM from someone, and so I won't share who it's from, but I love what they said about the podcast. They said, Elizabeth, I just finished listening to Friday's podcast, and I'm sitting over here in a puddle. I feel like I just spent a session with a life coach in the absolute best way. Thank you so much for being real and honest. You are authentic, and I can't express how much it means to me to know that what you say is truly and acutely accurate to your day-to-day life. That means the world to me. I just thank you so much. Those last couple of episodes where it's just been me coming on and sharing a bit of my own experiences, feelings, and all of that have been somewhat, scary, but also I've had so many of you reach out to me privately and to say thank you. So thank you. Thank you for taking time to let me know. It really does mean the world to me. It's very motivating to keep moving forward and sharing and creating content for you. And I'm very excited to say that I have over 200 reviews now, 201. So if you remember a couple of episodes ago, I was like, I just want to get to 200, please, if that works. And we are there. Thank you so much. It means the world to leave a review for the podcast. There are a couple of people I want to reach out to be guests on the podcast. And they will go and look at the podcast and look at the reviews. And the more reviews there are, the more likely they are to say yes to be a guest on the podcast. So if you have just a moment to go and leave a review, that would be wonderful. And you're paying yourself forward. You can get an amazing guest on the show to hear and learn from. So today, I am excited to talk with you about setting goals that don't depress you. What does this mean? Well, I want you to think in your business about the goals that you've set recently for your business. And I'm going to venture to guess that it looks something like this. For quilt pattern designers, okay, I'm going to I have a launch coming. I hope to sell X amount of patterns. Or I want to earn X amount of money. So do you know why these goals are so depressing? They are. And it's because they are completely out of your control. You cannot control how other people are going to choose what to do. You just aren't. And so many entrepreneurs, and this goes for life as well, we make goals with just the end results in mind. For example, even with weight, man, I want to lose X amount of weight, or I want to earn X amount of money. And then all we focus on is the result. And then when you don't lose, let's say 10 pounds, I didn't lose the 10 pounds. It's depressing because all you're focusing on is the end result. So let me teach you a different way to set goals. This way takes those major ups and downs and the emotions out of the equation. So you know what I mean? One day you feel like you're on top of the world, and the next day you feel like you just want to climb in bed and close shop. Every entrepreneur I've talked to has that roller coaster that we go through. In fact, there's a song by Dirk Bentley. It's called Burning Man. And I discovered it years ago, like when my business was new. But I went through a phase where I listened to it a lot because I was like, oh, he gets me. But some of the lyrics, it starts off with half your life you struggle, half your life you fly. one day I'm the exception. Most days I'm just like most. And he just talks about those ups and downs, or one day you feel like, man, this is amazing. And the next day you're like, oh my, well. So, what if we could tweak something that made the emotions of an entrepreneur not so drastic? Just a level playing field, and you can put the ball in your court. So, here is what you do: you make goals that are in your control. Instead of focusing on a result, you focus on actions that you can take, that you are in control of. So I can imagine you're probably like, wait, what? It's that simple? Wait, what about my financial goals? What if I really actually need to earn a certain amount of money to keep my shop open? I can't just sit around and not focus on that, because that matters. So buckle up. Here is the crazy thing. Making these kinds of goals where you are in control and you can be successful with them because you are in control of those, they will get you better results than if you simply focus on the end result. So, what do these kinds of goals look like? What are some examples of these? So, for example, I will reach out to 5 people this week to share my product. Let's say an influencer. I will ask them to share about it with their audience if they like it. That is 100% in your control. At the end of the week, you can say, oh, yes, I reached out to 5 people, or no, I did not. And here's the crazy thing. When you keep doing that and you are consistent with that goal that you are in control of, the results will come. But you're not so depressed because you're not like, man, it didn't happen. No, you control it. It did happen. And if it didn't, you can change it. Some more examples. I will send 1 email a month to my audience. You decide. You can do that or not, and it's up to you. I will add value to my emails by making them personal. I will share valuable takeaways or tutorials. So again, you're focusing on what you can do to add value to make your product or experience better. Another example, I will submit my pattern to 1 magazine at a time until I am accepted. You can control that. Another example is I will make a post on Instagram each week, every Monday and Wednesday. So there you go. You decide. You get to do that. And then my last example I have is I will study 1 hour a day on how to make more valuable products for my customers. So I just took a course on Instagram and how to add more value, how to get more traction on Instagram. So you can decide, I will study these accounts that are doing well. I will invest here. You get to decide that. So here's why these kinds of goals work differently. First of all, we've already talked about this, but you are in control. You're not at the mercy of somebody else. You want to set goals where your success is not dependent on anyone but you. You can make the difference in your business that way. And when you're making these types of goals, I strongly encourage you to do this consistently. So being consistent, when you set goals and you are consistent with those, you will see the needle move. So instead of like on a whim, a lot of times people would be like, yeah, I got some sales. That was awesome. I sold, 1,000 patterns. Now I'm just going to kind of sit back and enjoy. And then a few months down the road, you're like, wait a minute. I'm not getting any sales. Okay, I need to put all these things into motion again. I need to get more sales. So instead of just like riding that wave of success and then easing off the gas pedal and going back full force, focus on consistency. Focus on showing up consistently. And then regardless of the results, regardless if there's a ton of sales or not a lot of sales, you keep showing up and doing what you are doing. And that avoids those ups and downs of first of all, of sales. It doesn't even matter. There might be a month where you get a ton. There might be a month where you don't. That's not your success. That's not what you're measuring. What you're measuring is what you are doing. And so that right there takes out the emotion of like, man, this month I didn't get a lot of sales. What went on? What went wrong? Nope. You're not measuring that as your goal. What you're looking at is, I showed up every day. I sent my email this month. Awesome. I am a success. So you take that control of what success looks like for you. when you're doing these kinds of goals and you're being consistent, you get better. A lot of people think, I'm only going to post quality things. I will only send this if it's really, really good. And so they don't create a lot, or they wait, or they second guess and it's not good enough. But here's the crux of the deal. You don't get better until you do more. Like, you need quantity. The quality will come, but you've got to do the quantity. The more you do something, the better you will get at it. And so that's kind of this catch-22 where people are like, I'm only going to do it when it's really, really good. It's not going to get really, really good until you do a lot of it. So make those goals to be consistent and show up, and you will get better. And then again, I'm just going to reemphasize, you are in control of your success. Yes, I reached out to those people instead of, man, I only sold X amount. You have results that are in your control. And again, this makes those ups and downs way less drastic. And again, your success and your happiness isn't dependent on the results that you get. It's dependent on the actions that you're taking. And that is a huge weight off your shoulder. If you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I need to try that, I promise you it is a game changer. And it's easier said than done. This is something I'm in a mastermind. I'm hosting a mastermind this year. We just had a retreat this last weekend, and we've been talking about this for a couple months now. And as always, it's easier to see in other people's areas in their business or anything. It's easier to see, oh, here's where you could improve. It's harder to see for ourselves. So this past weekend, I was talking with them about a product that I launched, and the results were not exactly what I wanted. And I had this light bulb moment. Oh, okay. I am going to make 2 reels about it. I haven't made any reels about it. I'll share about it in my email. I haven't shared about it in my email. Like, it was laughable. They laughed and they were like, Elizabeth, take your own advice. That instead of focusing on the results of how much sold, I'm just going to focus on what I can do, what is in my control. And here's the deal. I do think it will bring results, but even if not, my success will come in me being consistent and showing up and getting used to just following through and doing things that are in my control. Another example of this, my sister, she just went to a pinners conference, and she has a book that she's selling. And she had a goal of selling a certain amount of books a day. And after day 1, I was like, how did it go? And she's like, I only sold X amount. And she's like, I'm both like really happy that I sold that amount, but I'm also bummed because I didn't reach my goal. And I shared this idea with her, and she was like, okay, all right. So day 2, I want to go in and I have a list of people that I want to go and talk to before the conference opens, because once it opens, it gets crazy. And I'm going to give them one of my books and just make a connection and, talk to them. And she did. Day 2, she did. And I don't even know how many books she sold, but doesn't matter. She accomplished it. And I think she made some other goals. I can't remember, but we talked about like, what are things that are in your control that you can do? And all of a sudden, that emotional ups and down is gone. And she's able to like, okay, that was a success. So if you're making progress, you are good. Like, there is the reality that maybe the product you have is not a product that people are looking for. And so you don't just want to keep going when it's not of value. So, one thing that is important is, first of all, do some market research. And this goes back to the very, very beginning of your business journey. Do some market research. Ask people, see if they're interested in what you're offering. Make sure that what you're offering is unique. If you are selling quilt patterns, there are other quilt patterns out there. How are yours different? How are they standing out from the crowd? If you're offering a membership or a course, there are some of those out there already. So how is yours different? What unique approach are you bringing? And is it solving a problem that people have? Are they looking for this thing? And are you offering something that people really want? Now, once that is a yes, then it just becomes a matter of being consistent, showing up, bringing value. And that is a great way to grow and have success, showing up consistently. I mean, really, time plus progress equals success and growth. So if you can just keep showing up consistently, so many people are like, how can I have success in a month or in 3 months or by the end of this year? I need to have this. This is a long-term game. Opening up a new business, it's not a short-term thing. Success does not come overnight. People are like, but what about that overnight success? I have yet to see an overnight success story, a true one. Really, what we don't see are the years and years of what came before it. Regardless of what that was that came before it, there was something that has led to that success that was not just like overnight. So show up and set goals that you can control. Be ready to play the long-term game. It will decrease those emotional ups and downs. And how long is it going to take? How long will it take until I grow success? Well, it takes as long as it takes, because the goal is not the outcome. The goal is to do the thing. And so you are changing the mindset of looking at your business in terms of X amount of money. Success is in terms of, I am going to show up and do this consistently. And then your success will come. It will be way less of an emotional roller coaster. And it's things that you actually have control of. So I'm really excited for you to look at your business and set some goals in this way, in a way that's not going to lead to such depression over, man, I didn't do this. What am I doing? No, it's, oh, I got this. I did this. And if there isn't something happening, you can change it because it is in your control. This is such a liberating way to run your business. I'm excited for you to try it out. And join me next Friday right here on the Craft to Career podcast. I will have my twin sister on the show with me. She is going to chat about going to that Pinners conference and starting her business. And I'm really excited to have her here because she is at the beginning of her business. And she has said multiple times, no one ever talks about this. We need to talk about this more. And so sometimes, it's fun to have people on the podcast who are like, I've made it. Here I am. Here's how I got here. I remember back in the day when, and she's like, no, I'm in the thick of it. Like, this is me. And she's in that, like, do I stick with it? Do I not? What am I doing? Oh my gosh, this was amazing. That was emotional, all of the things. So I'm really excited to have her. Plus, she's my twin sister. So it's kind of fun for you to get to meet her. But she'll be here on the podcast next Friday. Until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Friday.